Why Meghan and Harry were kicked out of the party. They were kicked out. Why? I mean, because of course, Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle needed to steal the attention.
This whole thing, guys, is simply bizarre because a lot of the pictures have disappeared from Getty Images. Like they're up there and then they're gone. They're up there and then they're gone.
And it's almost like they don't want to be associated with her, with Meghan Markle, because it's really bad for their brands.
It was Carrie's night, but Meghan showed up in the exact same color as the star of the evening, and the internet has not stopped talking about it since.
People had been told to wear black and white so she would stand out because all of these are promotional pictures. The whole show is about her. Meghan Markle had to show up wearing exactly the same color dress as the star of the show.
And this is not the first time. Not even close. Remember Prince Louis christening in July 2018? The entire royal family wore cream, white, and soft blue, and Meghan showed up in an olive green outfit. The only splash of color in this entire lineup. Different event, different year, same pattern. Meghan has never met a room she didn't try to make about herself.
So it weirdly feels like throughout all of this, Harry and Meghan are really truly on the outside looking in to the Hollywood bubble. The Hollywood bubble is there and Harry and Meghan are not. So I can't help but wonder as well, did they arrive later in the evening?
That's how much Meghan Markle's stock has fallen. She was kicked out and Harry was embarrassed and apologizing to Ted Sarandos once again for his wife's lack of sensitivity or listening to people or following a simple dress code.
I don't think that's true. I don't think she is in good with Netflix, guys. I don't think the Netflix thing is going particularly well for her. We know it isn't. They dropped her. They dropped her business.
Yes, nothing is selling very well. I just don't think they have any pull anymore.
Isn't that something? That this is why maybe Ted Sarandos is still hanging around Harry and Meghan? Maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe Ted is now friends with Meghan. Let's look at that. After such a display of friendship, Meghan Markle laughing.
She was asked to leave, not escorted to a better seat, not quietly redirected, removed from the party before the guest of honor even walked through the front door.
Meghan and Harry were kicked out of the party. They were kicked out. Why? I mean, because of course, Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle needed to steal the attention, and we're going to prove it here to you guys. But can you imagine being kicked out of a party when you're already not very much liked?
And then, within hours, someone made sure that most of the photographs from that evening simply disappeared from the internet. Gone. No explanation, no statement, just gone.
This whole thing, guys, is simply bizarre because a lot of the pictures have disappeared from Getty Images. Like they're up there and then they're gone. They're up there and then they're gone. We've had like multiple versions of different pictures that have popped up and gone.
That is where we are starting today. And I promise you, by the time we get to the end of this video, you are going to understand not just what happened inside that Montecito home on April 10th, but what it tells us about where Harry and Meghan truly stand right now in Hollywood.
Too many coincidences for my liking that this is just what I'm saying. But, you know, we all heard the rumors. We all heard the rumors about Meghan Markle and Ted Sarandos falling off. We all read the Variety article.
Because the full picture is significantly worse than anything the mainstream press is currently reporting. Let us start with what was actually at stake that evening. Because none of what happened makes sense unless you understand the pressure Harry and Meghan were walking into that party from.
So it weirdly feels like throughout all of this, Harry and Meghan are really truly on the outside looking in to the Hollywood bubble. The Hollywood bubble is there and Harry and Meghan are not.
Cast your mind back to 2020. Harry and Meghan sign a reported $100 million deal with Netflix. $100 million. The headlines were extraordinary. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex were going to build a media empire from California. They were going to become the most powerful couple in entertainment. They were going to prove to the royal family, to the British press, to every single person who ever doubted them, that they had made exactly the right decision. So what actually happened over the following 5 years? Their documentary series aired and generated headlines, but mostly for its accusations, rather than its production quality.
Because just last month, Netflix pulled its investment from Meghan's lifestyle brand as ever. Streaming giant that funded all the manufacturing, all the marketing, all the infrastructure for her gem and lifestyle products. They walked away. Variety reported that 6 Netflix insiders independently said, "We are done." And that's Meghan's response to that. She showed up at the CEO's house and was photographed holding hands with his wife.
Their lifestyle show, With Love Meghan, debuted to withering reviews and was canceled immediately. No third season. Their polo documentary landed on the platform and barely caused a ripple. Meghan's lifestyle brand, as ever, lost its Netflix partnership entirely.
I think she tries so hard to exude this sense of achievement, this sense of, ooh la la, look at who I am interacting with, that she almost comes across as too forceful. It's trying a bit too hard to force a message that, yeah, Meghan is in good with Netflix, guys. Don't you forget it.
And then came the moment that genuinely shook them. In March of this year, Variety magazine published a story detailing significant tension between the Sussexes and Netflix leadership.
I don't think she is in good with Netflix, guys. I don't think the Netflix thing is going particularly well for her. We know it isn't. They dropped her. They dropped her business. Ted Sarandos unfollowed as ever. Maybe Meghan, I can't remember which one it is.
Variety is not a gossip blog. Variety is the Bible of the entertainment industry. Every executive, every agent, every publicist, every casting director reads Variety. And every single person in that world read that story and understood exactly what it meant.
I am okay if you invited this woman, because of course the king just gave me a CBE, and this is a favor to the king and to Harry, because it's his son and it's the king requesting this, right? To save Harry's face, especially after he got that lawsuit coming his way.
Both Harry and Meghan denied it publicly. Netflix issued statements. But in Hollywood, a denial in Variety after a story in Variety is a bit like closing the stable door after the horse has already galloped 3 miles down the road. The damage was done.
And despite maybe getting an invitation, or more likely inviting themselves to this event, Harry and Meghan are not doing well in Hollywood. The future is, in fact, is looking quite bleak for them in the entertainment industry.
And here's the detail that confirms everything. Netflix had already quietly confirmed back in July of 2025 that they would not be renewing the couple's original deal. What replaced it was described as a first look arrangement. In Hollywood language, first look means we are not actively investing in you, but we are leaving a small door open just in case something extraordinary comes along. It is the entertainment industry's way of letting someone down gently while still keeping them close enough to be useful.
Nicole looks a bit uncomfortable. Meghan is like, Nicole. And, between the two of them here, I'm not sure who's Meghan going after. Who's the next sugar daddy or mama? Looks like she's angling for somebody, because her lack of talent and her husband's lack of talent means that the two of them can't rub two brain cells together and make a functioning business.
So when Harry and Meghan walked into Ted Sarandos' home on the evening of April 10th, they were not walking in as equals. They were not walking in as partners. They were walking in as people who desperately, urgently needed that room full of powerful people to believe they still belonged in it.
Even Ted Sarandos has to look out for his own brand. And he's not going to hook up with this woman. He unfollowed her, and that's the best thermometer or barometer to determine.
And that desperation, that intense need to be seen as relevant, as successful, as untouched by all the negative reporting, is what explains every single thing that happened next.
She gets this just, I feel like, forced grimace expression, which screams to me, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Look, I'm grinning. I'm smiling. It's all good. It's all good, right?
Now let us talk about the guest list, because it matters enormously to this story. The evening was an intimate tastemaker event celebrating the launch of Beef Season 2. The guests included Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau, Orlando Bloom, Oscar Isaac, and the woman the entire evening was built around, Carey Mulligan. Now, if you are not familiar with Carey Mulligan, let me give you some context, because she is not simply a famous actress. She received an Oscar nomination for an education. She won a BAFTA for Best Actress. She starred opposite Leonardo DiCaprio in The Great Gatsby. She is one of the most genuinely respected, genuinely talented performers working in the industry today. And just 10 days before this party, King Charles himself had personally presented her with a CBE at Windsor Castle in recognition of her extraordinary contribution to British drama.
Is this her way of paying back the favor? Because Ted Sarandos gets nominated by the king and gets the medal given to him in Washington, not by the king because he didn't go to London. And then now we have Carrie Mulligan, of all people, gets a CBE from the king himself.
This was Carrie Mulligan's night, her celebration, her moment in that room. Every single thing about the evening had been organized around honoring her, and the guests had been asked to dress accordingly, in black and white, so that when Carrie arrived, she would be the only splash of color in the room, visible, celebrated, impossible to miss.
People had been told to wear black and white, so she would stand out because all of these are promotional pictures. The whole show is about her. Meghan Markle had to show up wearing exactly the same color dress as the star of the show.
And then Meghan Markle walked in wearing chartreuse green. Let us be very clear about what chartreuse is and what it is not. Chartreuse is not a safe color. It is not a neutral. It is not something you accidentally pull from your wardrobe on a Friday evening and think, this seems about right.
You do not need a written rule to understand that when someone else is the guest of honor, you do not show up dressed to compete with them. That is not a dress code. That is basic manners. And the Duchess of Sussex has never had much use for those, to be fair.
Chartreuse is a statement. It is a declaration. It announces itself the moment you walk into a room, and it does not apologize for doing so. And here is the critical detail that makes Meghan's choice so completely indefensible. Carrie Mulligan had been wearing chartreuse throughout her entire press tour for Beef Season 2. It was her signature look for this entire promotional period.
The only color is Carrie Mulligan right here. And so she pops up in somehow the same green as Meghan Markle. Like, what are the odds of that? I'm not sure. Carrie obviously looks fantastic. Meghan Markle does not.
Every stylist, every photographer, every publicist covering that show knew it. Fashion editors knew it. Industry insiders knew it. You would have had to be entirely disconnected from the entertainment world not to know that chartreuse and Carrie Mulligan were synonymous in April of 2026. Meghan knew. Of course she knew. The question was never whether she knew. The question is why she did it anyway.
Meghan Markle, once again, did not follow the dress code because she needs to break the rules, defy everybody, when the dress code was there for a specific reason.
And the answer, when you look at the pattern of her behavior over the past several years, becomes very clear. This is a woman who has watched her Hollywood ambitions quietly collapse, project by project, deal by deal, canceled show by canceled show, who walked into that party knowing that every person in the room had read the Variety story, who desperately needed to be seen, to matter, to be the person that eyes moved toward when she entered. And if that meant wearing the same color as the woman being celebrated, then that was a price she was apparently willing to pay.
I don't think Meghan Markle is wearing the correct supportive undergarments, which I think matter here because in that type of dress, guys, if you ever wear that dress, a dress like that with that kind of fabric, it will show every lump and bump. Even if you are the skinniest of skinny queens, if you have any lumps and bumps, any cellulite, this dress will show it. It was a horrible, horrible choice.
The room noticed immediately, and it was not a comfortable noticing. What happened next has been pieced together from multiple sources, and the picture it paints is extraordinarily revealing. Meghan and Harry did not stay for the full evening. They were asked to leave before Carrie Mulligan arrived for the formal portion of the celebration.
And here you can see Meghan Markle earlier in the evening standing there. You can see everybody else is wearing black and white. The star of the show is not there yet. She arrived a little bit later. Carrie Mulligan, the star of the show, arrived a little bit later after you see that picture. And Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were asked to kindly leave.
The reason, according to sources, was simple. The color clash had created exactly the distraction that the hosts had worked to prevent. And allowing Meghan to be in the room when Carrie walked in would have turned a celebration of one woman's achievements into a comparison exercise that nobody wanted and nobody had agreed to.
Meghan looks dead-eyed. She looks odd. So does Harry, to be honest. They look cute. They look darling. Ted and Nicole, they look cute. Harry and Meghan look very much both dead behind the eyes.
Meghan reportedly pushed back. She wanted to stay. She apparently wanted specifically to get a photograph with Carrie Mulligan. A photograph that would then have circulated online, suggesting some kind of connection between Meghan and the show, some kind of shared glamour, some kind of relevance to an evening she had not been invited to be relevant to.
And Meghan Markle allegedly threw a fit because she wanted to get a picture taken with Carrie Mulligan to kind of imply that she was also somehow involved in this beef show.
That photograph never happened. Harry and Meghan were gone before Carrie arrived, and Harry, by multiple accounts, spent a portion of that evening apologizing to Ted Sarandos. Again, for his wife's behavior, which, if you think about it, is one of the saddest details in this entire story.
And Harry was embarrassed and apologizing to Ted Sarandos once again for his wife's lack of sensitivity or listening to people.
A prince, a man who was fifth in line to the British throne, standing in a living room in Montecito, apologizing to a Hollywood executive because of the dress his wife chose to wear.
But Meghan is leaning towards Nicole as if she's separating herself from Harry. And of course, she's here clutching Nicole's hand. And it's very strange. This is strange behavior.
There is also the matter of Nicole Avant's outfit. Ted Sarandos' wife arrived in one dress and was later photographed in something entirely different. Multiple sources claim the reason she changed was that during one of Meghan's signature full-body embraces.
Because Meghan Markle has shared this, and Harry has shared this, that Meghan Markle has a penchant for going up to people and hugging them without really asking if it's okay. She did this to Catherine and William, and they were very off-put by her.
The kind she offers whether or not the other person is reaching for one. She transferred deodorant marks across the shoulder of Nicole's original gown and ruined it entirely.
Meghan Markle allegedly dirtied the dress of Ted Sarandos' wife because she was wearing deodorant, and when she went on to absolutely hug or caress or grope the woman, she stained the dress.
Whether that specific detail is fully confirmed or not, what is confirmed is that Nicole changed outfits during the course of the evening, and the timing of that change aligns precisely with Meghan's presence at the party.
Look at Ted Sarandos' wife. Meghan Markle grabbed her hand. Look how tightly her claw is in that woman. And she is wearing no sleeves. And you can see her stomach protruding, and it has nothing to do with menopause. It has nothing to do because some people are speculating that she's pregnant. No. She's always had a pouch in the front, and I'll show you that. But you can see the body language from this lady, from Ted Sarandos. They want nothing to do with this woman. She has her back turned to her. It's pretty obvious that this is just for the cameras.
Now let us talk about the photographs, because this is the detail that elevates this entire story from celebrity gossip into something genuinely revealing about the couple's relationship with their own public image.
Meghan touches people unnecessarily to create the illusion of closeness. And look, we're holding hands. We're close. Can't you tell? Actually, no, Meghan, you holding hands does not convey a sense of actually having this personal relationship.
Getty Images had multiple photographs from that evening. Candid shots, group shots, images that captured what the evening actually looked and felt like. And then, within hours of them being published, most of them disappeared, pulled from the archive, unavailable, gone.
And all this cleanliness does not actually convey a sense of closeness. It conveys manicness. And I would argue it portrays a woman who is deeply insecure and is getting more insecure by the day.
What remained were one or two carefully composed images. Harry and Meghan smiling warmly alongside Ted and Nicole, looking relaxed, looking close.
Meghan's hunched, and she looks, honestly, I pulled this in. She honestly reminds me a bit of this from The Big Bang Theory. This has high school prom energy to it. And again, I feel like you're getting that sort of manic expression. He has a normal smile. Hers looks very, very forced.
Looking like the variety story had been completely overblown, and everything between the Sussexes and Netflix was absolutely fine. Here's the thing about that. If the evening genuinely went well, if Meghan was confident and in control and warmly received by everyone in that room, then why would those photographs need to disappear? Confident people do not scrub their own photographic record. People who are afraid of what the camera actually caught, people who need to control the narrative more tightly than reality will allow, those are the people who make photographs disappear.
She didn't want to leave. She was making everybody's life a misery because she wanted to be present because she's the Duchess. But no, honey, You have lost big time.
The images that survived tell the story Meghan needed the world to believe. The images that were deleted told the story she could not afford for anyone to see.
Where Meghan was acting, I would argue, manic in most of the pictures that we've seen, which have mysteriously been deleted from Getty Images, by the way. And I think it indicates something very clear. Meghan tends to get a bit more manic when things aren't going particularly well.
And while all of this was unfolding, Australia was waiting. Harry and Meghan are currently on their first visit to that country since 2018. When they came last time as newlyweds, crowds lined the streets for miles. The reception was genuinely warm and celebratory. Australia loved them. This time, over 34,000 Australians signed a petition demanding no taxpayer money be spent on their visit before they even landed.
Taxpayers in Australia will fund some of the tour, despite their insistence that it will be privately funded. Let me take you through this breaking news, which is about the police operations bill during the fake Duke and Duchess's tour next week. The Daily Mail reports the couple's itinerary is understood to include stops in Melbourne, Canberra, and Sydney. More than 35,000 people signed a petition in March demanding no taxpayers' money be spent on their upcoming visit. But a spokesman for the couple responded to the petition stating the trip would be privately funded and pinpointing how many Australians had not signed up. He said, and we know who this dude is, by the way, Liam Maguire, the latest propagandist. How long is he going to last? He was previously Meredith Main's deputy. Remember, she quit over the Kardashian lies. But he said it's a moot point. The trip is being funded privately, so I'm not sure what this petition hopes to achieve.
An Australian MP publicly demanded the couple personally cover all police security costs. Harry's mental health summit in Melbourne originally sold tickets at nearly 2,000 Australian dollars each. Those tickets were slashed to half price to fill the venue. Meghan's Sydney retreat is charging up to 3,000 Australian dollars per ticket, and it is still not sold out.
Harry launched what was described as a thinly veiled attack on the chair, Sophie Chandorka of Centre Bali, that he founded 2 decades ago, for telling, quote, blatant lies. He said in response to the Charity Commission's decision to open a compliance case, the Prince said he hoped a robust inquiry would unveil the truth. Now, we don't know why it is that Centre Bali or why Harry is actually being sued, what the actual reason for this libel is. But given that he accused Sophie Chandorka of telling blatant lies, Miss Chandorka is a lawyer, and she does not suffer fools gladly. We found that out.
No.
I would suspect that this has got something to do with it. This is maybe what he's being sued for.
Industry insiders describe the promotional atmosphere around Meghan's event as an influencer blackout. Nobody wants to be publicly associated with it.
I think absolutely. I mean, Sophie Chandorka, Dr. Sophie Chandorka, was a very, and still is a very accomplished black woman. You know, she was an executive at Meta. She was a lawyer. She had many different accomplishments, and Centre Bali was also one of them until it seemingly Harry really cut her down quite publicly in, as you said, this feud that kind of went on in front of our eyes. And I remember Sophie Chandorka going on Trevor Phillips' show and sort of saying her piece. Harry was leaking left and right.
For comparison, when Gwyneth Paltrow held a similar event in Sydney just 3 years ago, it sold out completely. People said you could not get a babysitter or an Uber that entire night because everyone was there.
She said she really liked the idea of the luxury, and she thought that it was clear that magic would happen at the event.
Yeah.
And she did actually go into the sort of constant approaches that were made in terms of the details. And when she asked for a tax invoice to obviously claim the tax back from the ticket, she said that was the moment everything changed. Instead of an invoice, I got a phone call attempt followed by an email that blindsided me. They'd become aware that I work in media, and because this was a closed-door experience, they were no longer able to offer me access. Just like that, I went from invited guest to excluded attendee. And she said what makes this whole thing especially surprising is that at no point during the booking process was there any disclosed condition stating that media professionals were ineligible to attend. She said she was just a paying customer, and she explained that her role was in shopping.
That is the gap between where Meghan believed she would be by this point in her Hollywood journey and where she actually is.
I think she knows her goose is cooked. She knows that this Hollywood experiment has failed broadly. And yes, they're still doing things here or there. They're still attached to projects, but they've very much been taken out of any sort of creative control.
The Australia tour is happening right now, this week, as you are watching this.
This is not a tour.
Exactly. And it didn't get leaked. That's why they're even clapping back at certain things in the operational notes. If those operational notes were just for your team and your security, why are there notes in there talking about, but this is going to be privately funded? That is a response in there for the public, for the people that they know are going to obviously then have this information passed down to them. They don't care about their security arrangements. This is about Harry and Meghan trying to look important. This is Harry and Meghan going on another promotional tour where they will use sick children in hospital, they will use veterans, Meghan going to a homeless shelter for women. This is again them using people as props and a stage.
I will be covering every moment as it unfolds. Subscribe so you do not miss it, because if the Netflix party ended the way it did, what is coming next from Australia might be even more extraordinary.